Cars are developed over long timelines, often planned many years before they ever reach buyers. Because of that, some design decisions simply reflect the priorities of an earlier era. If avoiding expensive repairs matters to you, long-term reliability outweighs any number on a spec sheet. Many modern pickups advertise durability, yet real-world ownership often introduces complexity, unexpected failures, and high repair costs. A small group of trucks, however, were built with longevity as the primary goal rather than attention-grabbing features. This list highlights 5 trucks worth considering if you value endurance, simplicity, and ownership without constant stress. Ford F-150. Taking the 5th spot is the early 2000s Ford F-150. Powered by the 4.6-liter V8, this truck comes from a time when engineering restraint mattered more than performance headlines. The modular 4.6 was never meant to produce impressive numbers. Its purpose was survival, handling heat, neglect, long idle periods, and steady workloads without complaint. Cast iron construction, conservative compression, and straightforward port fuel injection kept internal strain low. That approach produced engines that frequently exceeded 300,000 miles with little more than routine oil changes, cooling system upkeep, and basic ignition maintenance across fleets, city service vehicles, and private owners. Its reputation wasn't built through advertising, but through repeated real-world results. The early 2000s F-150 paired that engine with a chassis designed for ease of repair rather than novelty. The steel frame was robust and predictable, suspension parts were simple and shared widely across trims, rear-wheel drive layouts avoided aging poorly, while four-wheel drive versions relied on mechanical systems that could still be serviced without specialized equipment. When something failed, it was usually isolated rather than buried behind layers of electronics. Production scale also played a major role in reliability. Ford built these trucks in massive numbers, ensuring parts availability remained strong. Salvage yards stayed stocked, aftermarket suppliers refined replacement parts for decades, and mechanics became deeply familiar with the platform early on. That support network reduces both downtime and ownership costs, factors that matter far more than appearance once mileage adds up. This truck earns trust by behaving consistently. It starts in extreme heat, idles smoothly, and carries loads without protest as long as expectations remain reasonable. There's no lingering fear that a single sensor failure will trigger a chain reaction. Instead, problems tend to follow clear cause and effect logic, making them easier to diagnose and fix. That predictability reduces stress, which is an often overlooked form of value. Resale trends reinforce this reputation. These trucks don't suddenly lose value because demand never disappears. They often change hands locally among people who already understand them. When they're sold, it's rarely due to catastrophic failure. More often, owners move on while the truck continues running. That explains why high-mileage examples still earn respect even as paint fades and interiors wear. Performance was never the selling point, but it remains sufficient where it counts. The 4.6-liter V8 delivers smooth, usable torque without overworking the drivetrain. Transmissions were tuned conservatively, prioritizing longevity over aggressive shifts. Axles and differentials were sized for steady labor, not marketing bragging rights. The result is a powertrain that ages evenly, rather than developing weak links. Ownership stories tend to sound the same. Long periods without repairs, familiar mechanical sounds that never change, and maintenance that feels routine instead of urgent. That consistency builds confidence over time, and that confidence is why these trucks remain relevant decades later. Timing also worked in this truck's favor. It arrived before cylinder deactivation, widespread turbocharging in half-ton trucks, and heavily layered software systems. Fewer systems mean fewer interactions, which translates to fewer surprises as years pass. That simplicity reflects a philosophy built around long-term ownership, work, and repair, rather than frequent replacement. And if restraint produced this level of durability, the next truck shows what happens when that same mindset is applied to a smaller platform. Toyota Tacoma. The first thing most people notice after spending time in this truck is how uneventful the experience is. Nothing unexpected interrupts the drive. Ranked 4th is the Toyota Tacoma. Equipped with the 2.7-liter four-cylinder, it built its reputation by refusing to chase horsepower numbers. It never aimed to dominate spec sheets or parking lots. Instead, it quietly accumulated miles while other trucks sought attention. That lack of drama is intentional. It's engineered into the truck and reinforced over time. The 2.7-liter engine comes from an era focused on durability rather than reviewer appeal. Thick cylinder walls, conservative compression, and decades of incremental refinement gave it exceptional tolerance for heat, load, and, honestly, even neglect. It operates at modest RPMs, produces usable torque without strain, and avoids the internal pressures that, usually shorten engine life. Rather than chasing peaks, it delivers consistency. Over time, that kind of restraint really shows up in odometers passing 300,000 miles without any fanfare. Longevity doesn't require perfect maintenance. Many examples reach extreme mileage with just ordinary care, regular oil changes, coolant replacement, and of course naturally aging belts and hoses. Instead of degrading unpredictably, the engine just continues doing what it always has. Mechanical forgiveness is honestly one of the most valuable traits a vehicle can have, and this engine has plenty of it. The Tacoma platform really reinforces that durability-first mindset. Its frame is strong without excess, designed for work rather than appearance. Suspension geometry favors stability over sharp response. Steering components prioritize longevity over precision. Nothing feels delicate because nothing was pushed to its limits. Even under repeated loads or rough roads, the truck never feels overwhelmed. The driveline reflects the same philosophy. Rear-wheel drive layouts avoid unnecessary complexity, and the smaller engine places less stress on transmissions, differentials, mounts, and axles. While lower torque is often criticized, in this context it becomes an advantage. Stress adds up over time, and reducing it at the source preserves everything downstream. Consistency builds confidence. Cold starts sound the same as warm ones. Idle remains steady regardless of age. Throttle response stays predictable year after year. Those small consistencies create trust. And trust changes how people own vehicles. Owners stop anticipating failure, stop listening for warning signs, and stop negotiating with the machine. That calm tends to last. Market behavior reflects this reality. Demand stays high not because these trucks are rare, but because they rarely leave the road due to failure. Tacomas are sold by choice, not necessity. When they do change hands, it's often among buyers who already understand their value. That explains why resale prices stay strong and why even neglected examples are often worth saving. Performance here is defined differently. Acceleration is modest, but adequate. Highway speeds come easily. Cruising remains calm and uneventful, which honestly is the goal. More importantly, the engine never feels pushed to its limits. Operating below maximum thresholds allows components to wear slowly and, well, fail less often. The Tacoma's reputation is built on that reality, not on short test drives. Maintenance reinforces the same theme. Oil changes matter more than upgrades. Cooling systems matter more than accessories. When issues arise, they're usually straightforward rather than confusing. Sensors fail one at a time. Gaskets age gradually. Repairs follow logic instead of guesswork, keeping costs and frustration low. Ownership feels manageable, not investigative, encouraging long-term use rather than early replacement. Expectations remain realistic. No one treats this truck like a performance machine, so it's rarely used like one. Loads stay reasonable, towing stays modest, and usage aligns naturally with its design, extending its lifespan. Many vehicles fail because they're constantly pushed beyond their intended role. The Tacoma avoids that by making its purpose clear from the start. Environmental resilience adds to its appeal. These trucks endure heat, dust, cold, salt, and elevation without complaint. As long as they continue working, they rarely feel obsolete. Function delays replacement far more effectively than novelty.